To the Franchise Marketing Show. The video or the podcast you're about to watch or listen to was recorded at the British and International Franchise Exhibition at Olympia. It was a very busy event, so there was a little bit of background noise, so it wasn't filmed in a recording studio or anything like that, but it is a really interesting conversation. Hope you enjoy it.
Hi Suzie, welcome to the Franchise Marketing Show. We are live at the British and International Franchise Exhibition. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you so much for having me on today. It's very exciting.
Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure.
For those that don't know who you are, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Suzie McCafferty, CEO of Platinum Way Franchising, a BFA accredited franchise consultancy firm.
Excellent. And you're here exhibiting, aren't you?
Yeah, we're exhibiting on stand H140. So we've got the whole team with us today, or most of the team here today. So the recruitment agency side of the business, helping people find brands for to buy, and also the consultancy side of the business. So hopefully we'll be helping more and more businesses scale up through this lovely thing called franchising.
Yeah, you know all about franchising, don't you?
Well, I've been in the industry, I think 25 years now.
No way.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
You look good. So in terms of the exhibition, how are you finding the conversations and your presence being here?
Yeah, yesterday was a busy day, brilliant day. We haven't exhibited for 15 years, can you believe that?
15?
So so it was great to be back on the exhibiting scene. So we found it a really busy day. Busy all day actually. I think there was 5 of us on the stand and lots of good conversations, lots of good quality businesses coming through looking to franchise. But great to see so many sort of multi-unit operators here as well, really looking for that next brand. So that's been an exciting time for us as well.
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
And you were doing a presentation.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the presentation that you were involved in.
So the presentation was all about franchising your business, key considerations, the challenges, the opportunities, and I was sat there with the lovely Alex from Radfield Care as well. So we really discussed, what are the key things to think about when you're franchising your business, top considerations, of course, some of the challenges that come with it. We covered things like recruiting the right franchisees. We covered things like what are the right questions to ask a franchisee. So it was a really good interactive session, I think.
And in terms of your experience, because you talk from actual experience, it's not just theory for you, is it? You've actually lived and breathed that.
Yeah, so as I say, I've been in franchising 25 years. Started my first business at the tender age of 23, and I had a cartridge refilling business in Edinburgh. And people kept asking if it was a franchise. I guess it must look like a franchise. We had a good location. We had a brand that looked fairly decent. Don't know how, because we never used a branding agency at that time. And people kept saying, "Is this a franchise?" I knew nothing about running a franchise, or even the word franchise, to be honest. But I had to go and find out about this thing. So to cut a very long story short, about 7 years later, I had 70 franchisees, in 6 different countries: UK, Spain, Ireland, Portugal, Dominican Republic, Kuwait. So that was my first step into franchising. And I always say to people that we work with now, if I can do it from a store in Edinburgh at that age, knowing very little about franchising, then lots of businesses can do it as long as you get the right advice. I then did it again. I took a recruitment agency business, franchised that. That was about a 30 million network and about 90 franchisees, and then I exited that at 33. And then 15 years ago, that's when we started Platinum Way Franchising, our consultancy firm. So, the best is still to come. We get to work now with brands as large as Wendy's and Ben & Jerry's and German Doner Kebab, and lots of brands on the food space, but also, children's activity franchises, beauty, leisure, working with some reality TV stars now who are catching on to franchising and all these exciting things. So it's never dull in the world of franchising, that's for sure.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fair to say that you are, I've been involved in franchising for 7 years, and for me, you are like the epitome of franchising.
Oh, that's making me blush. I think there's lots of amazing people in franchising, I would say. you know.
So along your journey, were there people that you were able to call on for support in that kind of sense? Because you offer support now.
Yeah.
So did you have that support when you was?
Yeah, I would say it was there in parts. It's not as established, I would say, as the industry is now. I think the whole industry's moved on, and it's a lot more sophisticated in terms of the suppliers and the experience, and the reputation of franchising has changed massively as well. But yeah, I mean, I found Johnny Sellon, who is the godfather of franchising in my book, A Witch Franchise. He came to visit me when I was in my first retail store, where I was literally growing mushrooms up the wall. The damp was so bad in the basement of my first store, and poor Johnny had to come and visit me and tell me all about franchising, and whilst sitting in the basement surrounded by all of these mushrooms growing up the wall. But Johnny has been, and still is, this real figurehead in franchising. Also surrounded myself with people like David Kay, franchise lawyer, who has been around me throughout my career, being that uncomfortable friend when you need it, but that good solid advice. And then other franchisors, you know, at the time when I was a franchisor, just having that support. But now I think it's, you know, we've got such a community of, you know, you just look around this room today, everybody knows everybody, everyone's willing to help, and that's a big thing that's changed in our industry as well. People are not defensive, they're not keeping it all to themselves. Our community is massive for sharing, and will always help, you know, so I think it's a brilliant place to be, I think, this franchising industry. And it's, you know, obviously I do work with encouraging women into franchising, which I'm so passionate about, just helping other women overcome the barriers of getting into enterprise, and being able to come into business and start a business through franchising is fabulous. And some of you have heard my story about my sister that I love to tell, because my sister worked for corporate banking for many, many years, like 20 odd years, had a bit of a bad health scare, and it came back into banking, and it wasn't good for her health, and helped her get a franchise, and she's now, you know, living her best life in a completely new industry, doing something she loves every day. And so being able to help more women into business, I think, is a brilliant part of what our industry is about nowadays as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that kind of leads me to my next question in terms of, like, obviously over the 25 years you would have seen that change in the diversity, more women coming into business. What more do you think we need to do as an industry, or as individual women involved in franchising? What more do you think we need to do to open the way for women?
Yeah, do you know, it's funny. So I look back 25 years ago, and I used to be on the flight down to London or down south to Luton or somewhere like that every Monday morning, and I'd get on a plane, and I would be one of very few women, let alone young women at the time. The planes were full of men. But now when I got on a plane, it's completely not like that. So I think things have changed in terms of women in general and business and all that kind of stuff. But I think as an industry, I think we've got more to do. I think franchising is still so wildly underestimated in terms of a growth strategy, as a way to start a business, as a way to scale up a business, or as a way to get into a brand new industry like my sister did, and many more people do. So I think we've got to do more working with the government, education, academia, you know, maybe helping more youngsters realise, you know, through career development programs, those types of things. So yeah, we've got, I think there's definitely more we can be doing in that front, I would say.
Yeah, there's definitely more, and it's hearing stories like yours of women who have gone, you know, you're a trailblazer. Oh. You started something, you sold it on, you started again, you sold it on, so you literally know what you're talking about. And I think you've got that authenticity that helps other women kind of say, actually, Susie's done it, I could do it. And I think that's a big thing for women, especially, to see that there are role models in the industry.
Do you know, it's lovely to hear such lovely compliments like that, but for me, I'm just doing something I love every day. And I think once people get a chance to experience franchising, or, you know, see what it can actually do to change people, genuinely change people's lives, and it sounds you know, like I'm, you know, being all evangelical about this, but actually, you know, we all in franchising see people's lives being changed every day by making decisions that they can absolutely influence by taking on a franchise or growing their business. So it's that is all about giving back for me at my stage as well in my career. I'm really, really passionate about working with others, like going into schools and trying to encourage not just women, like girls, but actually guys as well, that actually you don't need to come out and just go straight to university. You don't need to come out and try and just start yourself. That franchising can be a way to get more people into our industry. And I think, all the surveys show, like, people are getting into franchising so much younger now than they ever were, which is, again, really exciting for our industry.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So is that something you're doing a lot of, being able to go into the schools in Edinburgh?
Yeah, schools, private schools, universities, speaking in lots of different environments as well, not just with the sort of kids and youngsters, also going into more professional organisations like law firms and accountancy firms and things like that, just trying to put franchising more on the radar, not just in Scotland. Obviously I live there, that's why I gravitate towards that, but as you know, I will always do anything I can across the UK to really help raise that awareness. So
I think if anyone was to cut Suzie open, it would just say franchising right down the middle.
I know. The thing is though, looking around our industry, there's so many cool things being franchised.
Yeah, it's true.
We do a lot in food, which is not very kind on the waistline when you're visiting clients all the time like that. But there's so many different things, like even dog first aid. That's being franchised by Theo and the team there, and there's so many incredible things now that are popping into the market. I can be one day on a pig farm in my wellies talking about a hog roast company and how the pigs come from farm to plate, if you like, to aesthetics company talking about Botox and fillers. So why would you not love what you do every day when you get that variation? So
yeah, exactly. I can't imagine you like knee deep in pig swill and stuff.
Neither could my client, to be fair. I think he was a bit shocked when I walked out of my heels and he said, "You do have wellies, don't you?" So but those are always funny moments. Or you turn up on site to a client that's in construction, if it's a premises based, and you're rocking up in your suit and your heels, and they're like, "You do know you're on a building site today, don't you?" It's all part of the fun, though.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Suzie, what kind of role do you think these kind of exhibitions play in the understanding of franchising?
Yeah, I think they play a massive role, and it's lovely to see these exhibitions really busy again. It really genuinely is. So I think it's part of the wider marketing mix. I think lots of other sort of marketing strategies are required to recruit franchisees. Digital now obviously is absolutely massive. PR, franchise portals, exhibitions, but again, just looking at the last sort of day or so to see how busy this has been, shows you that people want to be coming to exhibitions. They want to be looking people in the eyes and actually seeing what's out there. So
it's that face-to-face interaction, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So it's also good for our industry just to get us all out and about, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely. Suzie, in terms of your future and future goals and plans, what do you see for yourself, for Platinum Wave, but also for the industry? Because you've been around for 25 years, so you must kind of have an idea of where you think it's going.
Yeah, so for Platinum Wave, onwards and upwards as always. Again, it's so much fun. We've got a team of 12 now. That will continue to grow. We're working with some, all of our brands are amazing, but some really amazing mega brands as well right now. We would love to be working with more of those bigger QSR brands especially. So, from our point of view, fun is just, what we do every day is fun. I think you get that from the gist of speaking to me today. We love what we do. So obviously we do a lot, not just in the UK, but international. So the international side is always expanding, growing and developing as well. So that's us at Platinum Wave, continue doing what we're doing, making it bigger, better, stronger, better brands, all those types of things. In terms of our industry, I think there's a few exciting trends that I think will continue. So these mumbos, multi-unit, multi-brand operators, that has been so strong in the last few years, seeing people taking on extra brands, which is brilliant, and I think that will continue. We're seeing more and more brands coming into the UK from into other markets.
Okay.
We're taking a brand in from Prague at the moment, one in from South Africa at the moment, so it's not just those from traditionally America and that kind of thing that comes into the UK. So I think those trends will continue as well. We're still seeing a lot of corporates franchising, which is really exciting. But one of the trends I'm eagerly watching and participating in just now is, you know, with the rise of influencers, bloggers, reality TV stars who've got brands, they've got good brands. Franchising is now on their radar, and it's starting to become on their radar. So that's an interesting trend for our industry in franchising, and how will that then, you know, roll out? So I think these are the things that are to come.
Yeah, I mean, that is quite interesting because obviously as influencers and people are following them, so when they start talking about franchising, that's going to open up the educational aspect of franchising.
Absolutely.
In its own sense.
Yeah, and the important thing for these brands is these are wonderful people in terms of marketeers and creating those followers, and for people like myself at Platinum Wave, it's working with people and brands like that can then put the structure in place to make sure that those are really strong, sustainable franchise businesses, that there's ops systems, there's the right leadership team in place to roll out that as a franchise brand over and above all the marketing expertise that comes with that.
It is exciting, isn't it? It's an exciting industry.
Very exciting. It's all good. So
excellent. Suzie, thank you so much for your time. It's been really interesting talking to you. I could talk to you for hours. I got more questions.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
It's all right. Thank you. If anyone wanted to get in touch with anything that you're doing, how would they contact you?
Yeah, so obviously visit our website, platinumwave.co.uk, or drop me a line, suzie@platinumwave.co.uk. We'd love to have a chat with anyone wanting to chat about anything related to franchising. So thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.